Islam, Shalom, Hola, Aloha, Bonjour, Assalamu Alaikum, Osio. This is your brother Zach Bay, Indigenous American Moor, coming to you live in full effect. Like, share, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell down below so you can be notified whenever I'm dropping new content. Leave a comment and interact with me. Thank you. I really do appreciate your viewership. Oh, also, if you like the drip, like the Moorish drip, El Bay, check out the God's Closet on Instagram. It's not a paid ad, but check out the brothers. Check out the Moorish Brothers brand. It's called God's Closet. Peace. All right, today I want to jump into another one. I want to talk about something I've been noticing out here a lot lately, and I've seen a few other creators actually mention some of these topics and some of these I would say like a buzzword or a new phrase that's kind of being thrown around, like anti-human, pretty much. That's the phrase. I mean, I've heard a few people talk about like an anti-human agenda going on, or just some schemes, some plans, some plots just seem incredibly anti-human. Now, I want to break down a little bit about what some scientists would call the human animal. All right. So when I say the human animal, I'm speaking in terms of biology, in terms of how we're classified as Homo sapiens, and we're also mammals, right? So when you look at it in a biology perspective, being a biologist, you can see how you can see how someone can essentially study human behavior, human beings, like they would study an animal, like an anthropologist or some type of biologist who studies animals specifically. So there's people called animal behavioralists who study the behavior of different animals, why they do certain things, what could be like some of the reasoning behind it, whether or not it's environmental factors, whether or not it's fight or flight, just normal biological factors in there. But these animal behavioralists pretty much analyze, the behavior of different animal species. They study, they watch them, and they pretty much break down why, when, and how they do certain tasks, or how they pretty much live their lives. So you have to understand, overstand, and understand that there are many people all over the world that are literally looking at human beings like a human animal, like a biologist would, and they're studying the patterns and the movements. There's computer algorithms that are created to do this as well. A lot of the AI technology that's coming out now is literally studying the habits, the thought patterns, the movements, the reasoning why humans do certain things. Is pretty much watching and studying and learning from us. All right. So you must understand, overstand, and understand that there are people whose primary function is to watch and learn and break down, decode. I would like to say decode the human animal. Now, if you pay attention, if you have your ear to the ground in the scientific field, you know that several years ago, the human genome was cracked. And when I say cracked, I mean they pretty much figured out exactly what makes up a human being. Everything besides the intangibles, like a soul, all right, spirit, things of that nature. But the biological, physical, mineral makeup, the complete elemental makeup of a human being. If you've ever studied alchemy, the components of a human being, all right, this is for some of my anime fans as well. If you've ever seen the anime Full Metal Alchemist, you realize how in the animation Full Metal Alchemist, how they speak about the physical, chemical, elemental makeup of a human being, what exactly makes a human being, and how the soul isn't attached to that elemental makeup. All right, so that's what I'm getting to. That's what I'm aiming at here, to pretty much bring to light and speak about some of the topics, some of the pretty much some of the signals I've seen lately that's talking about the human condition on this planet, and who was really pushing this anti-human agenda. All right, so to make it more clear, I want to highlight like who's pushing this anti-human agenda and what these anti-human agendas really are. But first, I want to speak a little bit more about what's pro-human. If certain agendas, certain schemes, certain plans, certain motives are anti-human, there must be some that are pro-human. All right. So some of the pro-human, let's see, some of the items that are on the list of like what's pro-human, I would say, is medical breakthroughs. All right. So medical breakthroughs in the fields of like cancer research, actually finding cures over treatments, natural medicine, holistic healing, things like, actually healing and actually getting rid of diseases and ailments and sicknesses. All right, actually healing and getting rid of it, not just treating it and like kicking the can down the road, but actually curing it and getting rid of it out of the human body, so our lives can be longer, right? So medical breakthroughs, different research in the fields of like I said, holistic healing, right? Going back to natural remedies, doing what actually works, what's proven, and not just basing your treatment on petroleum-based medicines, as the modern medicine field is based on petroleum-based medicines. All right, waste from the crude oil industries. All right, it was all put together by like Rockefeller and Henry Ford, way back in the day. But also some of the pro-human. Something else that's on the list of what's pro-human, I would say, are inventions. All right, so there are some inventions that are I would say that are hidden from mankind. We've heard about people who created combustion engines that run on water, completely electric vehicles that have like perpetual energy, that don't really need like outside energy sources, inventions of this nature, things that could really change the human experience on this planet in a positive way. All right, so we know that a lot of these inventions get smothered, get suppressed, get hidden. The patents get bought, and then that technology seems to disappear. If you've watched social media and you've been paying attention to certain like science breakthroughs, you realize that over in Africa, there's been a few inventors that have made incredible discoveries. I want to speak on this one inventor who created like a generator that pretty much pulls energy from the atmosphere. All right, like an atmosphere generator. It's not connected to anything. Is using the same type of technologies that Nikola Tesla was speaking about back in his day. All right, so an African scientist figured this out. The government immediately came for him, tried to get him to produce that technology for them, and they pretty much tried to take it away from him. So people's lives really are at stake when they make when they create inventions, when they have an invention that could upset the status quo for the incredibly rich people who are making money off of these industries that have been stagnant for so long. There haven't been any kind of breakthroughs in like the automotive industry, the energy industry, all these new technologies that are beneficial for mankind, there always has to be a price tag on it when it could just be free and open for everyone to use. Paying for water, paying for air, paying for, just paying for anything and everything, all right? A lot of that stuff is anti-human, but there are inventions that would help us that could eliminate the need for anybody to be ever paying for electricity again, and that technology is suppressed. All right, there's technology that means nobody has to run their automobile on crude oil and create pollution in the atmosphere. Those technologies never have to be used again, but they're never seen. All right, let's continue along here. I would say the suppression of knowledge as well. That goes along with the invention. So there's certain discoveries, there's certain breakthroughs that are suppressed, that are hidden, that are only shared in certain circles and groups that could, in a whole, benefit the entirety of mankind. And like, there's information out there that could change the way you live your life every single day. And that knowledge is being suppressed, it's being hoarded, it's being coveted by those who want to keep power in the hands of a small few, instead of for the masses, for the betterment of humanity, to raise fallen humanity. I would also say preserving nature is very pro-human, all right? So we need to preserve this planet for the future. There's people living like there's no tomorrow because they know that they're personally not going to live forever, and they're not planning to leave a beautiful, healthy planet for the future, for our children. All right, they don't care about the betterment of the future. Like that saying, children are the future. They don't care about that. They're living for the now. They're living on that YOLO, you only live once. Nothing really has consequences, because these people have so much, like some of these people have so much finance, they have so much wealth, that the monotony of doing the same thing day after another, they just want new experiences, and they really don't, some of these people really don't care about humanity at all. They just care about themselves, incredibly selfish, right? So but preserving nature, like, making sure the water is clean, making sure the land isn't toxic and food can be grown, making sure the animals are here, fam. Like, did you know that the black rhino has gone extinct? There's no way we can repopulate the population of black rhinos. I believe the last male of the species died either this year or last year, and I believe there's only like a few females that are left in captivity. But yeah, we really lost a creature. We lost, one of the best species on this planet, and it's like there's no coming back from that. Once a species goes extinct, like, first there's like levels of endangered, and on the endangered list, it's like critically endangered. Like, that's when it's like on its last leg. So it's critically endangered. There's not many out left in the wild, or the population has dwindled down so much they only survive in captivity. So there are a lot of species that are on the critically endangered list, and some are completely extinct now, fam. Like, I would just say the black rhino, that's like one of the most recent ones I can actually say that has gone extinct in my lifetime. Our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren will never see wild black rhinos in the wild, fam. Like, that's heartbreaking, Like, a lot of these people are pushing anti-human agendas, and there's only a handful of people who are actually pushing, like, for pro-human causes. So it's kind of like on both sides. There's only a handful of people who are fighting for the good fight, and there's a handful of people that are really dragging down humanity, and they only want everything for themselves. And most people are in between, in the middle, just trying to live day by day, fam. But the people who are in the middle, who are like massively uninformed, who are just living day by day, who don't really have like the time or the information or knowledge, we need to inform them. We need to inform these masses so we can tip the scale in the positive, because as long as this huge center of people are just unbalanced, they can be swayed anyway. most likely the ones on the evil side, the dark forces, the ones that are anti-human, they're doing everything they can to control all the ones in the middle, fam, and to push their ignorance and their lack of information and knowledge, their mistrust, just the fact that they don't know, just completely oblivious to a lot of the things that are going on. It's actually tipping the scale in a negative balance because there's not enough people on the positive side to increase the vibration and to raise fallen humanity, fam. So preserving nature is one of the most important things to me, especially because, I'm an indigenous person and we have a special connection to nature unlike any other people on this planet, especially when you're indigenous to the land that you're on. So we have a kindred connection to the forest, to the trees, to the animals, to the water. Like I can't speak for everybody, but I can only speak for myself. Like I feel a special connection if I go into the forest here, and it's like healing, honestly. And if there are no forests, if there are no animals, if the water is impure, if the freaking ground is polluted, like it won't be able to support life, and smaller creatures will start to go extinct, and then it'll go down the line in the food chain. Those smaller creatures and all the creatures that feed on them will start to die, and the creatures that feed on them will start to die, and then it will just go up the food chain, until it reaches us, humans, mankind. I didn't really want to make this video too long, but it looked like this might be like 25 plus minutes. I'm really trying not to hit the 30-minute mark, but let me continue on here. Let's see. So preserving nature, and that goes along with sustainability. All right. So the fishing industry, like anybody who's on those huge fishing vessels, fishing, crabbing, like getting crustaceans, all that stuff. It has to be done in a sustainable way, fam. They can't just wipe out entire species because of greed. Like there should be a universal, a global effort that any type of resource that we're using, that we're taking from the planet, has to be done in a sustainable way. Like I like to lean toward the way that Japan does a lot of its construction, how Japan does a lot that's in harmony with nature. All right, so if there's a new construction that's going up in Japan, there's like a building that's being built, they'll build it in a way that doesn't disrupt the flow of nature. I would say, like, if there's trees there, they'll uproot the trees and actually move them. They won't just cut them down and destroy them. Or they might even build around it. You get what I'm saying? They'll incorporate the natural environment and nature into the architecture of said structure. You get what I'm saying? Like, if that makes sense, let me know. I'd really love to hear from you down below if you know a little more about the way the Japanese design their architecture and how they work and flow with nature. All right, there's a feng shui type of method that they take to interacting with nature and building upon the land, and I love it. You know what I'm saying? Japan really got that thing down. So those were some of the highlights of what's pro-human. Now I want to talk about what could be considered as anti-human, which is being pushed heavily, fam. I would say I have a series talk about food wars. All right, so with the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, there's a lot of food additives in our food that's pushed for to make people sterile, to lower sperm counts, like soy products are not good for men to consume. It lowers your sperm production. There are endocrine disruptors, things that disrupt our DNA strands. Like I told you, they decoded the human genome, which means they know exactly what can break down and what can alter the human's DNA structure. All right. And if the composition of one's DNA starts to break down, you start to develop crazy mutations, in which a lot of these wild illnesses have started to spring up out of nowhere. Incredibly rare illnesses that spring up inside of people, or that lowers fertility in women. That makes it more common that they'll have their menstruation, to make it more to make it harder for them to actually hold a child living inside of them. All right. Along with wars, that push depopulation, pushing also something that's new. The government has been, in the recent few months, have been talking about increasing the retirement age. All right. So the retirement age, I believe, for retirement from the workforce used to be like 65. I believe they increased it a few years ago to like 67, and now they're talking about increasing it to the age of 70, I believe. So people won't legally be able to collect their pensions, 401ks, Social Security benefits until the age of 70, fam, which means you'll literally be working your entire life. Grade school years, you graduate grade school and you get to like college. By the time you graduate college, you're already 20 plus, and that's most of your life. Think you have another 40 years to work and your life is over. You know what I'm saying? Very anti-human. I'll also say the housing crisis, how people can't afford lodging. Like, these are natural human rights, fam. Like, there's people pushing civil rights, there's people, and they forget to think about or even add in human rights. Human rights and civil rights are not the same thing. Human rights actually supersede civil rights. Civil rights are like additives. As well as, so the housing crisis, there's huge companies, BlackRock, firms, I would say, investment firms. So, and asset protection firms, and like they're pretty much acquiring major assets for all of these different companies. All of these incredibly wealthy people are members of the board or are shareholders in these companies, BlackRock, Blackstone, and they're buying up houses. They're buying up single family homes. They're buying up any type of properties that can be used for lodging, living, and they're paying higher than an individual family could or individual person could, and then they're using that as leverage to control the living situation of the masses, for the most part. Anybody and everybody, because everybody needs lodging, everybody needs shelter, fam. So they're doing that in a nefarious and malicious way in order to control the masses for the future. All right. There's a company that's literally, I want to say it's based in, if it's not Scandinavia or like Switzerland, it's a European nation though. But this company has created something called a suicide pod for the most part. So if a person feels like they've done everything they wanted to do, they completed their life journey, their goals, their mission, or they just don't want to do it anymore and they have the finance, you can contact this company, and then they'll either send you a pod or they'll give you the location of a pod. I believe they send it to you. So you purchase this pod, you get inside of it, and it kills you. It's supposed to be a humane way to just end your life. So people can pay for this service, fam. Hopefully this is making sense to you. This actually brings me to something I saw years ago. If you've ever seen the cartoon Futurama on Adult Swim, Fry, Bender, Leela, hopefully you know what I'm talking about. Maybe not, but check it out. Futurama. I believe on like the first episode of Futurama, this boy Fry was standing in line, and that's when he met Bender. And in the line, they were all going to this booth. It looked like a phone booth, man. They were in line waiting for something that looked like a phone booth. Fry thought he was going to to the phone booth to use a payphone. So he's right there talking to Bender, and Bender's like, yeah, let's go for a 2-for-1. They both get inside this little booth. Fry believes he's using a payphone and trying to make a call. The whole time, the machine is a suicide booth. You go inside of there and it kills you. So the whole time they're lining up, walking in this line, like, single file line. The people are going in and they're not coming out. And Fry is not, making a connection. But yeah, that really stood out to me. And I'm like, wow, they showed that some years ago. And now it's actually a reality. So that's definitely anti-human. The people who are making profit on that, people just ending themselves, anti-human, man. I want to talk about, all right, so in the medical industry, we got a lot of our meds from Nazi Germany, fam. If you didn't know that, what happened after World War II, Operation Paperclip, we took a lot of the science, like Russia, the Allied powers separated and took, like as spoils of war, they took a lot of the scientists who were working in Nazi Germany at that time, all right, who were in the Axis powers. They took those scientists who were creating these drugs and and doing these experiments to control the population, and to weaken the mental constitution of people. So they were using chemical additives in the water like fluoride. Fluoride is a nuclear waste byproduct, fam. Look it up. You can look up what fluoride is. We have fluoride inside of our tap water now. That's something that RFK was talking about. RFK Jr. has been talking about lately. So we have fluoride inside of our water. That started originally in Nazi Germany, fam. They used it on the so-called Jewish people when they was placing them inside the internment camps, right? The freaking death camps. And it wasn't just the Jewish people. It was anybody, gypsies. It was people who were handicapped. It were Moors. Pretty much anybody who the Nazi regime considered undesirable, fam. That's who all went up in there. LGBTQ, homosexuals and stuff. All them people went inside the camp. It wasn't just the Jewish people who went inside the camp. That's a common misconception that never again thing, that it only applies to so-called Jewish people. But nah, there were Moors. People know that Germany is historically a Moorish nation, man. So Moors, people who are considered burdens on society, people who might be crippled or paraplegic, you know what I'm saying, like handicapped type of people. The gypsies, people who live alternative lifestyles, homosexuality, people who live like homos or whatever, you know what I'm saying, with the homosexuality thing. Like anybody in that society who was considered undesirable were going inside those camps, and they were using these drugs and these experiments. Zoloft. Let me try to remember some of these other medications that we have. Xanax. A lot of the medication that are used to treat like depression in today's modern age were originally developed by the scientists in Nazi Germany to control the population, to weaken them, control their mind, figure out how can we pretty much take the humanity from these people and make them beasts of burden, just make them chattel slaves, animals for the most part. Pardon me. So also, one of the major instruments in the anti-human agenda is the potential for abortions. Major thing that was talked about so much in this recent election, fam. Reproductive rights, blah, blah, right? Abortion in America, I believe the number for so-called black people, the indigenous people, the Moors of America, I believe it's like 63 million that have already been killed, that are victims of that. And then the Planned Parenthood is actually double dipping. They're making people pay for this procedure, and then they're taking the organs and the stem cells from from what they harvested from these women. All right, they're taking the stem cells and the fetal organs that they harvested from these women's uteruses, and they're using that inside these vats, and they're making groundbreaking medicines and doing research, and they're growing organs, and they're selling it to rich and wealthy people to do experimentation with. They're making skincare products and stuff like that. Like, come on, fam. Like these celebrities that seem to have like a fountain of youth, who seem to never age, fam. Where do you think they're getting that? Where do you think they're getting those procedures done? Like what are those procedures that are happening? Like, what type of products are they using in order to stay so youthful, to stay so good looking? There's a new, I can't remember the name of this supplement, but there's a supplement that I've seen that has recently gone onto the market that allegedly is supposed to control your age. It's supposed to pretty much reverse aging. It could just be a marketing strategy for incredibly wealthy people who have the finance to spend on something like that. But with the unlocking of the human genome, I wouldn't put it past them if they have somehow did some type of experimentation and made some type of product that could in fact slow down the aging of our physical bodies, man. Like I wouldn't put it past them, especially when it comes to stem cell research. So I would say abortion done on a very large scale is incredibly anti-human, along with forced sterilization is incredibly anti-human. Anything that's on the depopulation agenda. All right. So some of the terms that you might have heard floating around the internet lately, or you're studying, or you might have heard on the news, that are actually a part of this anti-human agenda. Look into it. All right, Project 2025. That's one of the newer ones that people are starting to become aware of. That a small group of special interests put together that list of what they want to accomplish worldwide. This is globally, fam. That Project 2025 thing. A small group of people, like I told you, there's a small group of people who are working to be anti-human, and there's not enough people working to be pro-human. Agenda 2030, that's another anti-human agenda. The transhumanism agenda, all right, merging biological beings with machine technology, uploading our mental consciousness inside of a computer, inside of a robot, inside of a bot, or implanting computer chips and those technologies inside of our minds, inside of our bodies, all right, bridging the gap, blurring the lines between mechanical and biological. That's the transhumanism agenda. Cyborgs. Let's see. All right, so I spoke about the depopulation agenda, all these different ways to target the population of the planet. War, famine. Famine is a big one now. They're trying to control the food industries. So war, famine, pollution, abortion, the medical industries, like all of these pretty much all of those fields, all of those industries, they all have an aim in depopulation worldwide, globally. And that's mostly of ones who are deemed undesirable, fam. These people think they're way up here. They think they're overlords of the planet, and they deserve to live forever and rule over anything in all of us. And they want to rule over, and they're teaching and training their children to rule over our children and our grandchildren. That's literally what they're doing. They think they're overlords of the world, archons. Also an anti-human agenda the 5G and 6G technologies that are out destroys nature, compromises molecular structures. It's harmful frequencies and radiations that can literally cause physical sickness. All right, biological ailments. That's what 5G does. There's a lot less talk about it now. All of those towers that are going up, put in the skies, put in the middle of forests, put next to schools. That's radiation, fam, and that radiation has a wide reach. It's constantly being sent out in waves. So you're constantly being exposed to radiation. It's like they're trying to put all of us inside of a microwave and cook us. And there's a saying about a frog in the boiling water, right? So they say you place a frog inside of water and then you turn the heat up slowly. The temperature of that water is going to rise, but the original temperature of the water was like room temperature, so the frog can tolerate it. The frog's internal temperature is regulated or controlled by the temperature of the water that it's in. All right, so the frog is going to be just fine, but the temperature of the water is going to rise, which is going to raise the temperature inside the frog, and the frog is going to get cooked alive inside of that water and not even realize what's going on. And that's what's going on with us, fam. Literally. Hopefully that made sense to you. So along with the 5G, there's an issue about the World Health Organization on trying to target nations' medical sovereignty, pretty much trying to gain control over the medical sovereignty of entire nations, which means a global organization can control each and every country the way that they control a health or medical emergency, a epidemic or pandemic, like an outbreak, any kind of anything that has to do with health. They want to have the exclusive right to control the population of many nations all over the world, fam. Like that's something that's going up for I want to use the word debate, but it's not really debate. It's going up for consideration whether or not the U.S. is going to hand over the medical sovereignty of America to the World Health Organization. With the change of regime in the White House, I highly doubt that's going to happen, since Donald Trump originally pulled us out of the World Health Organization back in like 2020 or 2019. All right, let's see. Along with our medical sovereignty, something else that's anti-human is, all right, so with our medical industry combined with the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, all right? So the Food and Drug Administration, which controls Big Pharma and controls the food, like they're at the top. RFK Jr. is going to overhaul that. He might just get rid of it altogether, strip it down to nothing to get it back to what it's originally supposed to do. But it's been a concerted effort that the FDA is not looking out for the best interests of the population of America, honestly. Like, they're being bought and paid for. They're saying they're being paid to say certain items or certain foods, certain medications doesn't have adverse health effects, or there's no evidence of adverse health effects, things of that nature. So as far as the Food and Drug Administration, in conjunction with with Big Pharma Medical, that is part of the anti-human agenda, fam. So let's see. All right. So that's the list of what I have for like pro-human, anti-human, and then the agendas. And I really just want to drive home the fact that there's literally people who are trained, whose entire job description it is to figure out how to hack, how to manipulate the hardware and or software of the human animal, pretty much of the human or the human machine. All right, so there's an ideology that looks at humans as like animals, and there's an ideology that looks at humans that can look at humans as like machines, right? So combining those two, the biological and the mechanical, kind of like the transhumanism thing, right? So it's like we have some functions that are just like, that seem to be very mechanical in nature. There are some functions that seem to be completely biological, there's groups of people that are looking into both the human software, our internal makeup, and then the human hardware, our physical makeup, our elemental breakdown and things of that nature. There's people who are tasked to figure out how they can crack the code on both, and how they can manipulate and control the human condition on this planet by hacking, controlling, manipulating human hardware and software. And they're pushing that inside of the Hollywood industries, inside the foods. All right, so these chemical additives inside of our food can really alter the way you think, can really alter the way you feel by hacking your chemical makeup, man. These additives placed inside the vaccinations, forced inoculations, which are also anti-human on a large scale, which affects our medical sovereignty. So imagine if they was able to do that. So on the level of what's going on now, worldwide, populations are dropping. Nations are having a very hard time having the population bounce back after COVID, after losing so many, and then natural causes, losing so many people from old age, people retiring from the workforce. You get what I'm saying? The numbers are not being replaced that are being lost by these nations, and America is in that as well. The birth rate in America has dropped significantly. Nations like Italy, you can look this up as I'm speaking to you now. The nation of Italy, they have a negative population now as far as deaths versus births. Same thing for Japan. There's a big thing about passport bros going to Japan because the Japanese need to increase their population, so they want melanated men to come over there and help boost the population. The government is literally creating incentives for people to get married and to start families, large families, big families, right? In order for their nation not to disappear in 30, 40 years. Who could imagine in like 50 to 100 years that there's no more Japanese people, you know what I'm saying? Like, or there's no more Italian people, like literally different different subspecies of human, subcategories. How we like to, how certain people like to break us down with like certain races, when really we're all the human race, but there's different subcategories of the human race. All right, so or not subcategories, or not even subspecies, but we're just a different variety of human, and that makes us slightly different when it comes to our physical makeup. All right, so somebody who is heavily melanated versus somebody who's less melanated have different chemical makeups. They have slightly different elemental makeups, fam. Slightly different. All right, we're not all 100% made the same. We're not all of us. Because things like evolution happened. Not evolution. Pardon me, because that's still a theory. Things are like adaptation. That's what I meant to say. Mutations and adaptations have happened over the years, and over time. Dang, I really didn't expect to make this one so long, but I really just want to end this one out here. So I want to end this one by saying, if you fear anything, learn about it. All right, so that's the quote I have. If you fear something, learn about it. Don't be afraid. Learn about what frightens you. Learn about what might worry you. So once you learn about it, it's less likely it can control you. You won't have fear of it because it won't be unknown to you, fam. This is your brother Zach Bay. Hopefully this made perfect sense to you. We need to unite together and try to get rid of this anti-human agenda. Peace.